In 2026, new taxes, port fees, and quiet cost recovery charges are rolling into cruises in ways most passengers won't notice until they're already on board, or worse, after their final bill hits. If you cruise the way you always have, you'll pay more, wait longer, and lose control over costs you used to be able to avoid. But if you follow this checklist step by step, you'll cruise cleaner, cheaper, calmer, and smarter, while everyone else is confused at the guest services desk. This is Shipverse, and this is your phase-based checklist for navigating new taxes and hidden cruise costs coming in 2026. Phase 1: in reality check before you book. Purpose: spot costs that didn't exist or weren't enforced before 2026. Step 1: saying stop trusting the headline cruise price. Your action is simple: treat the advertised fare as incomplete. Why it matters is because in 2026, more cruise lines are separating government taxes, environmental compliance fees, and port infrastructure charges from the base fare. These are legal, but they're not always obvious at first glance. If you skip this step, you'll compare cruises incorrectly and assume one line is cheaper when it's actually hundreds more after checkout. Pro tip: always click through to the final payment screen before comparing cruises. If a cruise jumps significantly in the last step, that's where new taxes are hiding. Step 2: identify ports that trigger higher fees. Your action is to look at the itinerary, not the ship. Why this matters is because many 2026 taxes are port-based, not cruise line-based. Certain Caribbean, European, and Alaska ports are adding sustainability, congestion, or visitor impact fees. If you skip this, you'll book an itinerary that quietly adds daily charges you can't remove later. Pro tip: ports with overnight stays or tender-only access are more likely to add per-person fees. These can apply even if you never leave the ship. Phase 20: booking setup that protects your wallet. Purpose: lock and control before fees become non-negotiable. Step 3: choose refundable fares when possible. Your action is to prioritize refundable or flexible bookings, even if they cost slightly more upfront. Why it matters: because taxes and fees can change between booking and sailing in 2026. Some are passed through automatically, and non-refundable fares give you no leverage. If you skip this, you could get a fare adjustment notice weeks before sailing with no option to cancel without penalty. Pro tip: if a cruise line adds new government taxes after booking, refundable fares often allow repricing or rebooking without loss. Step 40: watch how gratuities are handled. Your action is to confirm whether gratuities are included, prepaid, adjustable, or subject to tax. Why this matters is because in some regions, gratuities are now being taxed or bundled into service charges, especially on international itineraries. If you skip this, you'll think gratuities are settled, then see them taxed daily on board. Pro tip: prepaid gratuities booked early are less likely to be reclassified or adjusted later. Phase 3: pre-cruise paperwork that prevents surprise charges. Purpose: avoid last-minute compliance fees. Step 5: double-check passenger information accuracy. Your action is to verify names, citizenship, and passport details exactly match official documents. Why it matters is because some new passenger processing taxes are tied to immigration data. Errors can trigger manual processing or administrative fees. If you skip this, you could be charged for document corrections or delayed clearance at ports. Pro tip: even minor spelling differences can trigger reprocessing fees on international cruises in 2026. Step 6: confirm visa and entry requirements early. Your action is to research visa needs for every port, not just embarkation. Why it matters is because denied entry can still result in port taxes being charged, even if you never step ashore. If you skip this, you might pay for ports you're legally blocked from visiting. Pro tip: some cruise lines charge administrative handling fees if they must process entry denials on board. Phase 40: onboard spending traps triggered by new taxes. Purpose: control costs once you're already sailing. Step 70: monitor daily onboard charges. Your action is to review your onboard account every single day. Why it matters is because new environmental and port fees are sometimes added mid-cruise as separate line items. If you skip this, you'll notice problems too late after charges are finalized. Pro tip: guest services is far more flexible when issues are raised early, not on disembarkation morning. Step 80: be careful with free onboard offers. Your action is to ask one question before accepting any onboard promotion. Are there additional taxes or service charges? Why it matters is because spa treatments, specialty dining, and shore experiences may now carry location-based taxes. If you skip this, that free upgrade can come with a tax service fee you didn't expect. Pro tip: services performed while dock can be taxed differently than those at sea. Phase 5: Shore excursions and port day costs. Purpose: avoid paying twice for the same destination. Step 9. Compare cruise excursions vs independent tours. Your action is to compare total cost after taxes, not just advertised prices. Why it matters is because some ports now charge per passenger access fees that cruise-sponsored excursions may bundle in silently. If you skip this, you might pay the port fee separately on top of your independent tour. Pro tip: ask independent tour operators directly if port access fees are included. Step 10a. Decide if staying on board saves money. Your action is to evaluate whether getting off the ship is worth the cost. Why it matters is because some port taxes apply whether you disembark or not, but others only apply if you step ashore. If you skip this, you'll pay for experiences you didn't really want. Pro tip: on certain itineraries, staying on board during high-fee ports can reduce spending without reducing enjoyment. Phase 6e. Disembarkation and post-cruise review. Purpose: catch errors before they become permanent. Step 11. Review your final statement line by line. Your action is to review every charge before leaving the ship. Why it matters is because once the cruise ends, disputes become harder and slower to resolve. If you skip this, small fees add up, and refunds take weeks or months. Pro tip: take photos of your final statement before disembarking. Step 20. Save documentation for future cruises. Your action is to keep records of taxes, fees, and disputes. Why it matters is because patterns repeat. Knowing which ports and charges hit you last time helps you plan smarter next time. If you skip this, you'll relearn the same expensive lessons again. Pro tip: frequent cruisers who track fees often avoid entire itineraries that quietly bleed money. Common traps to avoid in 2026: assuming taxes are fixed after booking, ignoring port-specific fees, waiting until disembarkation to dispute charges, thinking included means tax-free, booking purely on headline price. Here's the bottom line. Cruises in 2026 aren't becoming worse, but they are becoming more complex, and complexity always punishes passengers who don't prepare. If you follow this checklist in order, you stay ahead of new taxes instead of reacting to them. You spend less, stress less, and cruise like someone who actually understands the system. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever been surprised by a cruise charge you didn't expect? What was it? And when did you notice it?